Do you feel confident in your understanding of compression when mixing audio? Compression is one of the most important tools in the Mixing Engineer's toolkit. However, it's often the most misunderstood. I'm Justin with From Zero to Studio, and today we're going to break down the basic functions of a compressor in an easy to understand way. And then I've got a few tips for additional ways you can approach compression in your recordings. Let's dive in. So before we dive in, I've created a free compression cheat sheet that covers everything in this video and more, and you can use that guide as an easy reference to jump back to when using compression in your own music. Just go to FromZeroToStudio.com/compression or click the link below in the description and you can download the guide there. Compression is the key to controlling dynamics. A compressor helps to even out the loud and quieter parts of an audio track so that they can all be heard clearly. Compressors can even be used to make a performance feel tighter and punchier and can help glue things together when used on a group channel that has multiple audio tracks feeding to it. Now, many compressors are very similar and some do have different features from the next, but there's really only 6 main controls on most compressors that you should familiarize yourself with: threshold, ratio, attack, release, gain, and meters. The threshold is the level at which the compressor starts compressing the audio, aka turning down the volume. So if you have a threshold set to -10 decibels, you're not going to have any compression until your audio gets louder than -10 decibels. The ratio is how much compression is applied, or how much the compressor turns down the volume. And a higher ratio means you're going to have more compression. For instance, let's say you set a 2-to-1 ratio. For every 2 decibels the audio goes over the set threshold, it's only going to allow 1 decibel to pass through. In the same instance, if you had 10 decibels go over the threshold at 2-to-1, it's only going to allow 5 decibels of audio to pass through. Now let's say you bump that up to a 4-to-1 ratio. For every 4 decibels of audio that goes over the threshold, it's only going to allow 1 decibel of audio to pass through. So in this case, it's compressing harder than 2-to-1. And this idea is going to be the same for every ratio. If that's not making sense for you yet, this might be an easy example for you to follow. Imagine there's a large group of people trying to enter a concert through one single door. The door is the threshold and security has set a ratio of 4-to-1. If 4 people try to come through the door, security only allows 1 in and the other 3 are squashed back into the crowd. If 8 people try to come through the door, they only allow 2 people to enter and the other 6 are squashed back into the crowd. I know that sounds like security is getting a little bit too physical, but trust me, your audio is not going to be as offended. The attack is the time it takes for the compressor to start compressing the audio once it crosses over or gets louder than the threshold level that you have set. A short or fast attack is going to start compressing the audio faster, while a long or slow attack is going to allow a little bit more of the initial sound to pass through before it gets compressed. The release is the time it takes for the compressor to stop compressing the audio once it drops below and gets quieter than the threshold. Too short of a release can sound unnatural, while too long of a release can keep the compressor engaged 100% of the time. So depending on what you're compressing, you're just going to have to adjust the release to find the sweet spot between the two. The output or makeup gain raises the overall level of the audio after compression is applied. Compression is essentially lowering the volume of your track based on your threshold and ratio settings that you have set, so the end result is going to be quieter than the original. At that, let's say your final compressed track is 3 decibels quieter than the original. You can add 3 decibels of makeup gain to compensate for that. Last but not least, we have our meters. And on a compressor, there's typically 3 meters that you want to pay attention to: input, output, and gain reduction. The input meter shows you how loud the audio is going into the compressor. The output meter tells you how loud the audio is coming out of the compressor. And your gain reduction meter shows how much gain reduction is happening from the compression, how much it's being compressed. And with these meters, you want to make sure that you're not clipping going into or coming out of the compressor. So if you do notice any clipping, just make sure to turn down the input gain or turn down the output gain, just so you can reduce that level and not have any clipping. So now that you have an understanding of the main controls of a compressor, I want to offer you some additional tips and ways that you can approach using compression in your music. First is using presets. If you're still not comfortable dialing in compressor settings, most compressors have presets for different instruments and vocals, and these can be a great starting point just to get you in the ballpark for using compression. Sometimes these presets can get you close to the settings that you need, but you have to understand that these presets were created with a different instrument, in a different room, with a different microphone, and a different performer. So if you do get your start using compression by using the presets, the main thing you're going to have to pay attention to is the threshold, but you may have to fine-tune some of the other settings as well. Tip 2 is using multiple compressors. So if you push a compressor too hard, you can actually start to hear the sound of the compressor working. And that can be cool if intentionally used for an effect, but in most compression cases, you want to try to avoid this. So one way you can get that modern, in-your-face vocal sound without pushing the compressor too hard is to use 2 compressors on the track. After dialing in some natural sounding compression settings on your vocal, you can copy and duplicate that compressor right below it, or you can throw it anywhere else in your plugin chain on that track. The first compressor helps to even out the uncompressed vocal, while the second compressor is compressing the already compressed vocal. Doing this can give you an upfront sound without overworking a single compressor. Tip 3 is using parallel compression. Parallel compression uses extreme compression settings with a ton of gain reduction on a duplicated track, which is then blended in with the original track, and this can give you a full and modern sound that still retains the dynamics of the original recording. Parallel compression can be great for drums, vocals, or anything else that you want to stand out without sounding over-compressed. Last but not least is using mix bus compression. Adding some gentle compression to your mix bus can help to glue your mix together and give it a full and tight sound. Typically aiming for a slow attack and fast release is going to help to keep your mix sounding natural, and you really only need a small amount of gain reduction here. Somewhere around 1 to 2 decibels of gain reduction is usually fine, but it really depends on the song. If I'm mixing a dense modern rock song, I sometimes might aim for 2 to 3 decibels of gain reduction on the mix. So you really just have to use your ears and see what fits best with your song. So now you know exactly what a compressor does, and you've learned how each of the controls work, so the next time you reach for a compressor, you can approach it with confidence rather than just turning the knobs and hoping for the best. And let's be honest, we've all done that at some point. And also, don't forget to download my compression cheat sheet. This guide covers everything from this video and even has some additional tips on how to adjust compression settings, and it's just an easy to follow guide to have in your back pocket. To get that guide, you can download it absolutely free as my gift to you by going to FromZeroToStudio.com/compression or by clicking the link below in the description, and you can download it there. That's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. I'll see you on another video soon.